Iran has issued its strongest and most explicit military warning to date, openly signaling comprehensive operational preparation across all branches to decisively counter any potential U.S. military action or airstrikes targeting the Islamic Republic's sovereign territory and strategic assets. Iran's defense minister issued a stark public warning declaring the nation stands significantly better militarily prepared today than during the devastating US-Israeli multi-front war that erupted catastrophically across the region back in June 2025, when B-2 bombers pulverized underground nuclear sites. Defense Minister Aziz Nasirzadeh's provocative warning arrived precisely as President Donald Trump dramatically escalated his own series of increasingly explicit public warnings directed toward Tehran amid the revolutionary unrest convulsing Iranian streets nationwide. Nasirzadeh ominously declared to state media that Iran now possesses many devastating operational surprises in reserve, strongly suggesting deployment of brand new advanced military hardware alongside innovative asymmetric response options unavailable during previous confrontations. Brigadier General Aziz Nasirzadeh said, and I quote, "If these threats are turned into action, we will defend the country with full force. And until the last drop of blood, and our defense would be painful to them." Unquote. The Iranian defense minister also issued chilling ultimatums stressing unequivocally that any sovereign country actively assisting U.S. military operations through bases, intelligence sharing, or logistical support would immediately transform into a legitimate retaliatory target for Revolutionary Guard missile forces. This aggressive rhetoric constitutes a direct and unmistakable warning broadcast toward all of America's vulnerable regional allies throughout the Persian Gulf routinely hosting critical U.S. air bases, early warning radars, or prepositioned logistics ammunition stockpiles essential for combat operations. Tehran has publicly claimed through military spokespersons that all critical infrastructure damage sustained during last June's intense 12-day conflict, including damaged missile silos, radar arrays, and port facilities, has now been largely repaired while incorporating substantial defensive expansions and redundancies. President Trump's repeated public warnings threatening devastating airstrikes throughout Iran should security forces continue massacring peaceful protesters have catastrophically heightened fears throughout Gulf capitals surrounding inevitable multi-front regional conflict escalation. Iranian state media systematically frames these pointed American threats as comprising one coordinated element within Washington's broader comprehensive pressure campaign deliberately linking suffocating economic sanctions directly with manufactured internal civil unrest aimed at regime decapitation. In direct response to Trump's interventionist rhetoric electrifying street demonstrations, Tehran has counter-threatened through official channels to launch massive ballistic and cruise missile barrages specifically targeting exposed U.S. military bases scattered from Bahrain through Kuwait into eastern Saudi Arabia. Since these mutual threats proliferated across official channels, U.S. Air Force and Navy fighter jets alongside airborne early warning platforms have become dramatically more active and visible throughout the flight schedules at the massive Al-Udeid Air Base complex in Qatar. Israeli defense media outlets closely monitoring regional air movements reported formations of F-35 Iadea stealth fighter jets, heavy strategic bombers, and KC-46 Pegasus refueling tankers actively operating in coordinated formation exercises over Qatari airspace adjacent to Iranian waters. Even the mighty B-52H Stratofortress heavy bomber was also reportedly observed generating thunderous takeoff rolls from Al-Udeid's extended runways amid heightened alert status. The strategically critical Qatar Al-Udeid airbase hosting 10,000 U.S. personnel remains positioned perilously just 200 to 300 kilometers flying distance away from Iran's southern coastline missile launch fields and Revolutionary Guard Navy patrol boat swarms. America's sudden visible combat aircraft deployment surge throughout the Central Gulf serves as unmistakable strategic warning signaling determination to immediately stave off and deter mounting threats emanating from Tehran specifically provoked by President Trump's provocative pro-protester remarks.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
the fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.